Good evening, listeners. Once again, from Rise St.Lucia and online, from whatever part of the world that you're listening to. Normally, we have streamers outside of the Caribbean. Welcome to another episode of Youth on the Rise. Again, I'm your host, Crash Adel. And if you're listening for the first time, again, here we have an educational talk show where we discuss topics like the one I'm about to mention to you. The topic for this evening, people, as we know, most of us live our lives and we go through school and we get educated, but a lot of us never really learn about savings and how to actually save money, saving tips, even when they move on from school and you have your home. So this evening, we're going to touch on savings tips for households. Okay? Again, to start out with this quote here. And it says, save your money. You're going to need twice as much in your old age as you think. Okay, I repeat. Again, a quote here to begin, a bit of a preface for this session. Save your money. You're going to need twice as much as you think in your old age. Okay, so here, listeners, saving is valuable. Okay, as much as we like to spend, as much as we have, as much as we like good things, like nice things, like we take advantage of opportunities, new trends, it's important to save. You hear that preached to you all the time, but it never really sinks in. Okay, so you never really get enough context as to the why. Not just the why, because a lot of us kind of know why you should save. Again, you may save for a rainy day, save for an emergency if you don't have, but the how. Okay? Not just how to do it, but how you will benefit. So this evening we are going to touch on that. So I will be discussing 9 tips in detail to save for households. And not just for a home, but for people in general. Very general tips there. And if there is one thing that you may not have had during your schooling years, as part of your education, you should have that. That is how to save properly. Okay? And saving doesn't necessarily mean being extremely frugal and never having money in your pocket for something extra. You could do it smartly, people. Of course, there are times that things are not as ideal as you would want to. But a lot more times you would actually be in a position where you can make a lot smarter decisions. And making a decision, it wouldn't change your circumstances too drastically. But it will make a huge difference. In other words, it will make a huge difference, for example, if you do not buy an extra car, not take an extra loan at a particular time. Okay, in other words, you may not have needed a particular item, but that financial decision would have a huge bearing on your state of your finances at the time. Okay? So, we are going to delve into that. So again, those listening, those just joining us, again, this evening we are discussing 9 saving tips for households. Now, to get right into it, and I'll start by the first one. First and foremost, people, a lot of us like to listen to little tips online. And I'm about to give you a few. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of us like to listen to, tips like how to save very frugally, how to cut little expenses. But we never look at the big expenses. Alright? We never look at the major things that we use, that we indulge in, but we don't really need. We never look at these expenses. So the very first thing I am going to discuss here this evening is that you cut some of your major expenses. Now, I am not saying major things that you need. We all know that if you live on your own, for example, you need to sustain yourself. If you have a household, there are certain things that you need, of course, right? However, there are a lot of things that we have that we don't need. And, of course, that is very situational. Okay? So again, you hearing me speaking right now, It has to relate to you. Okay, all of our situations are not the same. All right, all of our circumstances are not exact. So you need to tailor what I'm saying to you and how it applies best to you. Okay, now what are the major expenses sometimes that we should cut? Okay, for example, again, that is dependent on your financial situation. A lot of us, not that we don't make enough money, but we don't keep enough money. Again, there's a saying that goes, it's not what you make, but it's what you keep. In other words, a lot of us, we make a lot of money, but our expenses are so high. We barely have anything for ourselves. And it's not that we're not in a position to sustain ourselves. But a lot of us, we like such a lavish lifestyle, like to have so many things. But at the end of the day, at the end of the month, we cannot save a penny. Alright? There's a difference between being comfortable and being lavish, people. And again, when you look at being lavish, of course, people have different salaries, different levels at which the income is at. Living above your means. Okay? So again, I'm putting my words into context here. I'm taking a lot of care to do that. But again, there's a difference between living comfortable or being in a situation or spending your money where your needs are actually met and being lavish, living above your means. Okay? A lot of us actually do that. And it's not because, say, you don't have a home or you don't live on your own that you don't. A lot of us can actually save more money. But we just love to spend more. Now, again, a lot of us normally commit to many monthly payments that we don't need. Okay? For example, again, that is situational. For example, many subscriptions, be it online, right? For example, certain bills that we don't need to incur. Probably someone could have a postpaid package and they never use it. Of course, we know people who do use it, and that means in that situation being necessary. But then, for example, people who lease vehicles constantly and don't need it. Alright? For example, again, I'm listing here. All of them may not apply to you, but there's just a few that I jotted down. Again, certain products that you've bought that you don't need, certain things that you subscribe to online. Alright? It's nice to spend online, you know. It's very convenient, but sometimes it's very easy. That's what fools a lot of us. Especially if you have most of your money online or you have a checking account. Right? It's very easy to, buy something. Okay, we know Amazon has one-click buy. Alright? So you don't have to click many pages, you simply click to buy. Not just Amazon, but again, I mention Amazon because it's one of the most popular sites in the world right now. It's growing manyfold by the year, actually. And Amazon, among other e-commerce sites, again, there is excellent opportunities, there are good deals there. But a lot of times, we have a tendency to overspend on there. Okay? So you have to be a bit more careful with what you spend your money on. Again, a lot of us see a new item. It's nice. Sometimes it's even at a decent deal. But a lot of times we don't need it. And we get it. And sometimes it's not as important to us at the time. There is something better that you could have done with the money. And you end up spending a lot too much. I mean, it happens to everybody. Sometimes. Again, for only those who shop online. For those who don't, there are other things. Of course, we all have pet peeves. Things that we don't mind spending a little more money on. But a lot of us overdo it a lot of times. Okay? So, if one wants to cut their budget, if one wants to be a bit more frugal with money, the point here is that don't start with your smallest expenses. Don't only start and examine your smallest expenses. Because if you have your smallest expenses and you make cuts, the cuts may not be that significant. Go with bigger expenses and really see what you need, what is necessary, and what is not. Again, there are examples that I did not mention, but it may apply to you. Okay? So, you need to watch the things that you spend your money on. There are hundreds, thousands, literally millions of opportunities to buy things. Billions of companies online or offline, right? Stores out there sell new things. They want your dollar. They want you to buy something. Oftentimes, something that you may not actually need. So you need to look out for that, people. And I should have left this for last. But regardless, that is extremely important. Okay? Examine that first. Each and every one of you. Now, number 2. Let's move on to number 2. Secondly, people, you should reduce your debts. Okay? You should make an effort to reduce your debts. In other words, try not to owe money all the time. Now, some people may say that, what about you being in a situation where you have to owe? Or you simply want to take on a commitment where you do not have all the money at the time. I mean, we have those times where situations arise and you just have to, you just need a little more extra money, and it's not that you don't have the means to pay it back. You do, but you don't have all of it now. I get that. Understood. But rather, when I say reduce your debts, of course that comes into play, but you need to really reduce on the amount of things that you owe all the time. Okay? For example, again, and you'll see that a lot of the points actually tie in hand in hand with each other. Unnecessary bills. Right? For example, a lot of us have postpaid plans that we never use. Right? Expensive premium subscriptions that we barely use, but we keep getting billed for it monthly, and we're wondering where else to cut money, but we're not seeing that expense. Young, old, poor, financial independent, wealthy, everyone falls trapped to that. Right? I am sure most people, there's one thing that you could cut out of your life, one expense that you could cut out of your life right now. I am not a financial expert, by far. I would distance myself from such a claim. But people, examine the number of things that you need to spend your money on, and the things that you actually do not need to spend your money on. Examine those things. And here, your lifestyle comes into play. Okay? The lifestyle that you live. Again, there are many books written on this subject of money and savings and finance and budgeting and investing. I will give a few of them towards the end of this segment. A few recommendations if anyone wants to expand in knowledge. There's a treasure trove of knowledge out there. However, you need to make sure that you know what works for you, what is more convenient to you and your situation, and also what is important at the time. Okay? So you need to prioritize your life, people. So you need to prioritize your life, because a lot of times we want a certain lifestyle, but our finances cannot support it yet. Okay? Our finances cannot support it yet. Yes, we have the money, but we're trying to be the part, dress the part, but we're broke. Basically, In other words, you have no savings, people. Right? You have no savings. That is not a wise way to live life. Okay? Think of all the consequences if you have little to no savings, people. Of course, we all know those who don't have income yet, but those who have, I'm speaking to you specifically. I'm speaking to you. I mean, think of if you get sick. Right? Think of if you have children and they get sick. You have to depend on anyone. Yeah, you need to shell out some money. Think of unexpected expenses that come up, and it may be like, whoa, you didn't see that one coming, but you need it. Okay? Think of whether you get into an accident. Okay? Whether you damage something accidentally, something of somebody else. Whether someone does something, say, a lawsuit against you. I mean, lawsuit one is not common. Of course, you know people that happens to. But you should always be in a position where you protect yourself from these many outcomes. Because I have always said, and it has always been said, anything can happen to anybody. It doesn't matter how poor or how rich you are. Okay? So you always need to be in a position where you have extra money. You have a little extra change, people. You need to. And okay, if it's $100, never spend all. Or never spend most of it. Save something. Okay? Save something. So again, try to reduce the amount that you owe on a recurring basis. Right? Things that can be building over and over and over will really help with stabilizing your finances. A lot of times when you look at a lot of wealthy people, especially who, yes, they get paid high salaries, right? And let me not even say wealthy. A lot of people actually say they have salaries of, okay, I won't mention salaries, but a lot of people, the expenses are so high, right? Every month they have a bill for X, Y, Z, and that is aside from the necessities, you know. The necessities are well covered, but they have a bill for X, Y, Z, and sometimes they have so many, they're even forgetting that they have one, right? And it just keeps recurring. Think of the amount of money that you're wasting. You're wasting a lot. So, listeners, whatever age that you are, it is necessary that doesn't matter how much that you make, your expenses shouldn't be too high. Alright? You should try to cut down on your expenses. Because as I said earlier, it's not how much you make, people. It's how much that you actually keep. At the end of the month, at the end of all your bills, all your pet peeves, right? All your obligations, how much you actually have to play with or save, right? That's what really counts. If, for example, somebody makes, let's say $3,000, I put an average amount. Well, that's not an average for most people, but that is the amount that we're going to use, that I'm going to use. And they spend, for example, the expenses total up to $2,400, $2,500. They barely have anything. Alright, let's bring it down. Let's think about $2,000 salary. Let's say the expenses come to like let's say $1,400 or $1,500 or $1,600. They barely have anything. Right? Even if you're living on your own, you're making that much. Even if you're living on your own, and you make that legal, in a sense. You should be able to cut your expenses a little lower than that. Okay? You should be able to manage your expenses a little bit than that. Some people, they have salaries, and by a quarter or half of the next month, they're broke. They have to go borrow. And I will speak about that just now. That is very bad. Alright? A lot of companies you see where, and again, I'm not tackling anybody specifically, but a lot of businesses you see where people come in, or they offer you the convenience of quick cash. You better watch the interest rate. They'll make the money back and more quickly too. Yes, you get the money. Yes, convenient. You get the $1,000. You get the $5,000. You get it. Alright, they don't lie. But the interest balloons very quickly if you don't repay that. So that is not the best. It's not the best to take short-term loans, people, especially from those quick cash machines or other methods that are out there. Okay. So you have to be a little more savvy than that. All of us, all of you, myself included, not prevent. Okay? So don't try to live a too lavish lifestyle. One that you cannot afford at the moment. Okay? One that you buy the things that you want. Again, you spend a little, you spend quite a bit, but you have almost nothing saved. You live in the government. Alright, there's nothing wrong with rewarding yourself. There's nothing wrong with spending a little money on yourself, giving something a treat, giving yourself something that you deserve, that you worked for. Alright, something that you've always liked. But not do it till the point that you have nothing saved. That is very unsavvy. A lot of times, when the tide goes away, like the great investor said, like the great investor Warren Buffett says, when the tide goes away, you always see the man that is swimming naked. In other words, those who are riding close, those who barely have enough saved, when something goes very wrong, you really see them. Don't be that person. Okay? Do not be that person. Be on the side of safety. Number 3. Spend a lot on number 2. A lot of time on number 2. People try to buy cash when possible. For most people, I know that is not an easy thing. Okay? I will give the benefits of buying cash in a moment and try to convince you as to why it's more viable, why it's better. Okay? But I know it's not an easy thing for most because most salaries are not that high. Most people, they don't make that much yet to just consider buying something cash. A lot of people, the first instinct is higher purchase. You want something? Go at X or Y place. I don't mention places names here. Alright? But their instinct is never to save and try to buy the thing cash and have it. It's yours. It's your own property. Right? You have no third party calling you up for it unless you have to deliver it. Okay? No third party heckling you about it. Alright? Right? People do not prefer to buy something cash. And the interesting thing is that even when people have money, like they have a good bit, let's say they have the money to spend on the thing. So let's say there is something that costs $8,000 and say they have $15,000. I mean, you need savings. But they would rather take something on hire purchase that, say you pay $100 a month for 72 months and more than that. Right? Rather than just buy the thing cash. Let's say they make a decent salary and they can just buy the thing cash. They rather take the hire purchase and not buy the thing cash. Now, that is situational again. And as much as I repeat that, I hope that people grasp that, people get that. Because it's easy for me to say that. I understand that. A lot of people say that. But a lot of times, people can't buy the thing. Of course, you know, a lot of people, that's not the case. Now we'll talk about that in a few seconds. But a lot of people, they can't purchase an item. But naturally, because they're not used to buying in cash, or people telling them that, or that being really taught to them, they don't. And they think that it's always better to buy higher purchase. That's often not the case. Now, why is it better to not buy higher purchase? One, it take longer to pay the thing, pay the item, whatever the item is, wherever you buy it from. So, here, you take longer to pay for it. It's not yours, or it's not yours until you are done paying for it. And you don't have any ownership of it yet. Okay? And it could be taken from you. Let's say you buy a fridge, right? And let's say you were in a position where you had the money to buy cash. not just the exact sum, but you had the sum and you had extra. So buying it cash didn't mean that you couldn't pay your bills. Alright, I hope those listening are actually getting what I'm saying. Let's say you're in that situation and you did not buy in cash, okay? Again, it can still be taken away from you. I mean, if you start paying till you don't finish. Yeah, they still can. Although, from my knowledge, and I wish someone can correct me if I'm wrong, please feel free to do so. If you haven't paid, is it half the price of something? They can come and take it back. Yeah, if you haven't paid about half, I think so, I believe so. About half the price of an item on hire purchase, they can come back for it, right? So the vendor, whoever it is, whatever company it is, can come back and actually repossess that item. But you wouldn't want that, even if that happened, right? And even if you just paid above half and did not repay, that will ruin your credit. Of course, I'm sure some smart people listening might think, okay, you're saying that, well, I should just buy something and pay a little more than half, and they can come and take it. But that's not good long term. That will ruin your credit. When you try to buy something again, that will be on record. Okay? So that's not a wise thing to do. So, again, people, one of the main advantages of buying things cash, when it is possible, is that you own the item, first and foremost. Okay? You own the item. It's yours. Secondly, you pay for it a lot quicker. And as I was just alluding, you pay less too. I almost forgot that one. Again, people, one of the main disadvantages of hire purchase. For example, as well as math, let's say we have purchased an item that costs what, 5,000. Cash price, okay. The younger ones, secondary school, primary school, higher, you should be able to keep up with me too. And let's say the cash price is 5,000, right? And you offer the option of, let me have a good figure, $100 a month. I won't have the actual number of years it takes to pay. But the higher purchase price can be something like $6,500. That's a possible sum. So, yes, if you have the item now, you may be using it, but in the long run, you still end up giving the supplier, whoever you bought that item from, an extra $1,500. And it may actually even be more, because I am aware of times where people buy things and it's a lot more than that higher purchase. So the difference between cash and higher purchase price may be a lot larger sometimes. I mean, a lot of people do not realize that. And of course, sometimes it's a matter of convenience. Sometimes it is. But a lot of people do not know that. You'll be surprised. Alright? People, that is why it's better. Because there are situations where you buy items and higher purchase, you end up paying almost twice the amount. Don't ask if you miss a few loan payments. They'll raise the interest rate, so you'll pay more. Okay? So you really need to be careful of that, everybody. Alright? You really need to be careful of that. That's why short-term loans, quick cash, whichever other form that's there. If you're ever in a situation where you need to take that, you need to take it, repay the interest very quickly. Or repay the loan very quickly, sorry. Because the interest rates on these are normally very high. In excess of 10% sometimes. That high. Okay? So, people, when you look at major things, like, for some, and I will delve into other people just now, for those who cannot, how to best approach that. If you can buy anything cash, for example, a vehicle. I mean, some people always think that they want to buy their things new. They want to buy from the dealership. Again, my comments are not aimed at anyone. I'm not an expert on this. However, a lot of people like to buy their things new. And Yes, it's nice to have something new, but a lot of times a used vehicle is not that bad, right? Especially one that works well, right? Is working quite well. It's not that bad. Okay. A lot of times, a lot of us are barely in any stable financial position, but we prefer to take a loan to buy a new vehicle for like $60,000 or $40,000 or more. You'll be surprised. Not the investment, but the financial position some people are in, and the fact that they're actually taking loans to buy such expensive items. When a used vehicle, probably even cheaper, even the same model, a lot cheaper, would actually suffice. Okay, so the vehicle will last you long. It has no major defects, right? I mean, it has a few miles on it. And even if you have to do minor repairs, I mean, we all like to tune up whatever we buy after a while. But it's a lot more viable, right? So a lot of people, especially first-time buyers, right, they overspend that way, and they end up spending a lot more money than they actually could have afforded, right? Yes, they could have paid the loan, they could have paid it back gradually, but think of the number of things that they actually could have done. Now, I'm not saying there's something wrong with buying a new vehicle, do not get me wrong, but it depends on the financial position that you are in. Okay, it depends on the financial position that you are in at the time of the purchase. So please get me here very, very clearly. Again, listeners, if you'd like to contribute to this discussion, again, the number to call us or send a message on WhatsApp is 714-5574. Again, the number to contact us would be 714-5574. Please feel free to leave a contribution, a comment, and give your opinion, give your view. So, I'm going to move on. Okay, so number 3 was buy cash whenever possible. We look at major expense, for example, a vehicle, sometimes household things, sometimes there are many other things. Okay, I'm just scratching the surface here. So number four, you try to buy local, people. Try to buy local. Not just because it's better. I mean, we all hear that in the news all the time. Or we hear people say that, we hear people say that around us. But a lot of times because it's cheaper, people. Alright? A lot of people, or most people rather, don't understand that a lot of items that you buy, the cost price of that item is not just what's in there. A lot of small fees are added to that is added to that item. Right? A lot of small fees are actually added on. So again, you notice that items that are imported from very far cost more. For example, some tin soap milk. There are some tin soap milk that cost like in the case of $40, and other tins of the powdered milk. That's an example. I remember seeing in store once that costs almost half that, right? And not just that product, but a lot of times the location really factors into the price, because not think that for an item to reach on a shelf, for example at Super J or any other retail store out there, a wholesale store out there, don't think that is not factored in. Okay, the supplier in that case, the one selling it to you, not necessarily the one producing it, which is what I'm saying, not necessarily the one manufacturing it. The supplier, the wholesale chain, the retail store that you're buying that, the boutique that you're buying that, they have to pay that price too. Or they have to pay and account for that price per item. So be it $1, be it 5 cents, be it $2, it always comes on the item. And a lot of times, the further away something is imported, the more it costs. So a lot of times, quite a hefty fee, let's say on $40, for example, gets added on to an item that was bought, or an item that you've bought. That may be just as quality as a local one, or one that is produced closer to your residence, closer to the island, closer to home. It may be just as quality, but it's a lot more expensive. Okay? And yes, a lot of us like brand names. It depends. I mean, a lot of people just prefer it because of quality. Of course, that is known, of course. But a lot of times, sometimes they're not that different. Again, it depends. Okay, people make their own choices. But a lot of times, yes, brand names as well. Okay, you pay a lot for that. So you need to make sure that you understand the things that actually make up price of an item, and it's not just importation costs. There are many other small factors, but that is a huge one. Okay, for example, products made in, say, Jamaica. Let's say cornmeal. Right, cornmeal is a little cheaper, oats a little cheaper. Again, these are just basic household items that most of us consume. Say if that same item was made, say, in Bangladesh, in New Zealand, in Australia, maybe a little more pricey. Go to the supermarket and compare, and you see what I'm talking about. So, when shopping, people, when going to the grocery store, when going to buy items for your households, try to buy things that are locally made. Try to. Okay? Of course, you don't always have to sacrifice quality. For example, people like ketchup. Some people think that Heinz ketchup is better than the others. I guess people have their own preferences. I don't agree though. But you don't always have to sacrifice quality. Okay? That's my point. So a lot of times it doesn't really make a difference. Quality is not that different. But whether you bought it from somewhere that was somewhere just manufactured closer to where you live, if it's not St. Lucia, the country that you're in right now, listening, okay, it makes a difference. And by the way, for those who listen on live stream, apologize. Right now, our live stream is down. So those of you who listen to us via video, do apologize. But also you could listen to the audio on the website. Okay? So here, buy local, not just groceries, but things like meat too. I mean, it's cheaper and sometimes a lot safer too. So when you look at imported chicken, meat, a lot of times they've been preserved for a long time. They've been on the shelf. They put the J line to come down many months. Yes, it looks nice and presentable. That's because a lot of times a lot of preservatives have been added to it. So people, it's not just price, it's safety as well. It's another reason to buy local. And that'll help you save people. That'll help you save. A lot of people, we have a lot of diseases and wonder where we get it from. Or we have children, we have many conditions, fibroids, cysts, many others. Again, I'm not picking on anyone who has that. But a lot of times it comes from food that we eat. Okay, and a lot of processed food. Alright? Again, you look at chicken, for example, the hormones that they inject in the meat, in the animals before they were killed. These substances, they get into our bloodstream and affect us in the long run. So we should always consider safety, listeners. Consider our safety when it comes to buying food, okay, and what we buy, okay. Safety and also the location. Location helps us save. Okay. Now, number 5 here, and it is actually a contradiction to what I said, but it's not really a contradiction, but it actually contradicts what I said. Is that understanding that more expensive isn't always better. So, the fact that, again, I was stating that a while ago, the fact that you purchase something and the price is a little more hefty, right? It's marketed a little better. It doesn't mean that it's better, actually, right? The label might look nice, the marketing light might look spot on. Yeah, you buy that, right? But it doesn't mean that it's better. You find like a lot of junk food, okay? People, a lot of the things that we eat, a lot of the junk foods that we eat, companies that produce these foods are big. Why? Because a lot of us buy it. Therefore, they have a lot of money. Therefore, they have huge budgets to advertise. Therefore, the advertisements are good. So they know how to woo you in, trust me. But an item that is beautifully advertised doesn't necessarily mean that it's super good for you. Even those that are advertised as nutritious, be very careful, people. Be very, very careful. Okay? They aren't always good for you. So that's something that you need to be mindful of. So, a good way to counteract that, one, understand value. Again, it's nice to try certain things. It's nice to not try things in large quantities at first. Alright, go based on your preference. Again, I mentioned an example of Heinz ketchup. I think Heinz ketchup tastes better. Again, we have our preferences. I don't know. We all have our preferences, but go what you think is best for you. Again, people may disagree with my decision, but they may agree with it for other things too, for other items. Okay? So, people, and I'm sure those listening, I mean, you all buy things to eat, you all buy groceries, not just food, but other items as well, clothing, okay? The more expensive things not always better. Again, some people just sell things more expensive, right? Again, you find wholesale outlets being cheaper for some things. For example, when you buy things in bulk, alright? And things that are, and other items are cheaper as well, okay? So, again, you need to understand valuation. When it's better to buy in bulk, when it's better to not buy in bulk, to help you save some money, everybody. Okay? So again, food, clothing, and sometimes even if household things, household appliances. And I will get to a very interesting part of it. But a lot of times, people, a lot of retailers who sell things, the items that they sell, there are items, similar items, sometimes the same items are available elsewhere cheaper. Remember that, don't forget that. And sometimes you may have an item at least at a particular price, but it's marked up heavily. In other words, it has a huge margin on it. Alright? And you can get it a lot cheaper. So you may actually be overcharging, overspending for that item. Okay? And that brings me to my next point. Because the next point is that some things are actually cheaper when bought online. Right? Something that you haven't bought online. Right? I mean, a lot of things actually. Of course, sometimes convenience, we need certain things now. But there are some things that the prices are ridiculously lower when you buy them online. Of course, we all know the extra cost that comes with buying an item online, and to ship it down, and the like. But the price of the item is cheaper still, especially when you buy in bulk online. Okay, some things are way more expensive bought locally than regionally or internationally. So we need to know, people. Number one, what is cheaper to buy online? Number one, people electronics. Electronics. We don't make electronics down on this island. Alright? Countries where nobody produce certain items, sell them cheaper. Okay? Those who order, those who buy online, they will relate to that. Some things are just cheap online. And not just electronics, but that's a big one. Many household appliances too. Okay? Sometimes go to a retail store, or go to a store online and get an item, get a name, and try to get the price of it online. You'll surprise the difference. Trust me, you'll surprise you. Sometimes things are way cheaper online. Not marginally cheaper, but way cheaper online. Okay? So, see differences in value there. These are the things that most people don't know and they should know. And it's not about what you have, it's how well you use your money, people. You can't get value for money, you have to learn that. So, getting value for money, you save that way. Alright? That is how you save. Alright? That is one of the main ways that you save. Of course, raising your income, but also understanding valuation, understanding value. Right? Understanding valuation. Alright? How much is something worth? Can I get it cheaper elsewhere? Can I get a better quality item that is even cheaper? Or sometimes a better quality item for the price. Alright? You know these things. School should be teaching that. So, people, next point, as I mentioned, was to buy in bulk when it's better to do so. Okay, I did glaze over that a few minutes ago. Buy in bulk when it's better to do so. People, certain things are cheaper bought in bulk. Locally, that is. I'm referring to things being bought locally. Okay? I'm not referring. So, again, certain things is better to buy at the retail stores, certain things is better to buy at the wholesale stores. The difference in price, it helps us save. Sometimes we have to spend a little more and end up putting a little more money, but per price, per item, you still save some money. Okay? So, those who are looking to reduce their expenses, those who don't stretch their dollar, that is a good way to do it. Alright? Now, getting closer to the end. Let's move towards health now. Now, people, don't waste. Don't waste. Don't waste. Alright? A lot of us we like to waste things. And sometimes it's not our fault. As children, we used to waste a lot. And we in an environment where, you're going to throw things. Alright? For example, food. A lot of us like to waste food. Or we cook too much food and we have to throw it. These things accumulate, And the end of the month, if you strictly monitor how much you spend on food, generally, it makes a big difference. When you use more than you need, or you prepare more than you need, not just for yourself, but for your family. Okay? And you have people or children who throw food. I mean, sometimes you cannot control it. Children are children. But they should be educated on the value of actually not just throwing away things. Okay? Doesn't mean that you have something and it's going to spoil and no one wants it. You don't throw it away. But a lot of times you try not to. Alright? Try to have a home, try to have an environment where people don't just throw away things. Okay? Because the thing that you're throwing away is still money. I'm glad I learned that. It's still money. Okay? So you have to make sure that you do not do that. To make sure that you don't do that. Okay? So, you don't waste food, people. Right? And there are other things that waste. There are other ways that we waste. For example, appliances. A lot of us, yes, we buy something new, but we don't realize what we have. We could actually sell it. Even if you sell it cheap. Let's say you have a cooker. Right? And let's say that cooker initially costs 7,000. Again, I'm making an arbitrary figure. And let's say over 4 years, you will buy a new one. Okay? It's not necessarily bad. Like, it's not like it's not working at all. Sometimes it works well. But you just want to buy a new one. You want to see something new in the kitchen, right? We all have that. But what we have there is good. What do we do with it? A lot of people actually dispose of it. And a lot of people may say that doesn't happen. Trust me, that does happen. It doesn't matter if you bought the thing 5 years ago. You're still wasting money. You're wasting money because you're throwing away something that still works just because you want space for a new one. And also because you could have sold it. I mean, if you just pack in something that you're not using it and you have a new one, Wouldn't you actually be making money if you just sold it? Even if you sell it for half the price or a quarter of the price, the value is going to go down to zero anyway when you sell it and you don't use it. Alright? So again, that's another way to declutter your home. Right? When you have things you don't need, just sell it. Sell the thing. Right? You don't hold on to stuff so much. Okay? You all to do that sometimes. Especially when, of course, you start out and you want to expand your home, or you're going to better quality appliances. It's okay to sell some things. Right? Don't be afraid to post something online and say you're selling. These groups are quite popular actually. I've used a few. Right? Sometimes you get good items there. Okay? So, don't just keep money lying around. Okay? And don't just throw things that are very important, things that cost a lot. Food is a big one because food is a lot expensive, especially if you're trying to eat healthy. Of course, if you have your salads and you have your provisions and you have your fruits and vegetables. I mean, most parents who work very hard for these don't like them seeing me thrown in the bin, right? And even for adults, it's not always the best thing. Okay, so please no waste. All right. Again, nothing wrong with throwing something you don't need it, or something has spoiled or is bad. Of course, right? You wouldn't put your health at risk. But a lot of times, a lot of us we're just either greedy or we have no concept of preservation whatsoever. We don't know how to save something for tomorrow, save it for later. Alright? So that really hinders a lot of us. And that again is another way that you can actually cut back slightly. Okay? So that's where the frugality in my mind comes in. You can be a little more frugal. There's nothing wrong with it. If you leave something for tomorrow, depending on the thing, doesn't mean it'll spoil. Sometimes you leave something, so it doesn't spoil. Okay? And there are some things obviously you don't leave for the next day. So you know. Lastly, people, number 9, and not least. Again, this was a slight contradiction or something. It wasn't the last one. So, and this tip actually encourages you to spend money on something. The last tip, people, is that you buy healthy food. And of course, I'm speaking about cutting costs. Make sure that you try to save dollars. You don't spend unnecessarily. But is healthy food unnecessary? Think of that question. Is healthy food an unnecessary expense? Alright? It's your body. And not just saying that. Okay, let me fire a question to those listening. Ask yourself this. What does it cost to buy, say, a Big Mac? Alright? Or any other piece of unhealthy food? Now, yes, the item might be cheaper. I mean, we know that. But think of how much you're degrading your health. Think of what it costs. Think how much it actually taxes your body. Alright? Let's say candy, food that is very sweet, food that is very unhealthy, very cheap, but have no nutritional value. You get what you pay for. Why do you think it's so cheap? Tell people those things and they don't like hearing that, but it's the truth. Alright? The healthy foods are always more expensive. That's the reason, people. It has more nutritional value. Okay? So you should be buying foods that have more nutritional value. It's better for your body. Your body needs the nutrients, people. Do not undereat. Alright? We all fall in that trap sometimes. I have. But people, try to preserve your body. That's the only thing that you have. Whether you're young, whatever cycle in life that you're in, that's the only thing that you have. Preserve it. Okay? Those who don't, or those who don't do it as well as they should, because we're not perfect. Later on in life, the health bills are skyrocketing, and they cannot pay for it. Sounds harsh, but it's true. Okay, so here people, even if you're young, and even if you're not young, you're a little older, and we have we have a wide age demographic of listeners, the age range of listeners. We have a good demographic as well. It doesn't matter what age you are, it pays with healthy. Alright? It pays with healthy. Because even if some foods are cheaper, people, even if some foods are cheaper, nutrition will add nothing to you, and it actually taxes your body. It taxes your body in that, again, for example, a lot of sweet foods, again, bad nutrients for you, or nutrients that too high proportions, and a lot of it really, I don't want to use too much technical jargon, but a lot of it really toxifies your body. Alright, so you need to make sure that if there's one thing that should put a premium on people, it's your health. And you should make sure that you're not very scanty when it comes to actually buying food that is healthy for you. Alright? So, listeners, your health is important. Right? Buy the fruits instead. Right? And I've spoken about that. I've spoken about this on previous segments. A lot of us like to buy foods that are cheaper. It does look nice. It looks appealing. But it doesn't really add anything to us. It actually hurts us. Too much sugar, too much salt, too much fat. I already mentioned that in a segment. Okay? But buy the foods that are healthy for people. Foods that have many antioxidants in them. Okay? Buy the foods that really energize our bodies, that really innovate us. Okay? A lot of fruits, good. A lot of vegetables are very good. Even in the snacks that we eat. Alright? A lot of people don't eat fruits for snacks. They don't. Alright? It doesn't taste sweet enough. It's not nice enough. It's not sugary enough. Okay? We have to change those habits, people. Again, no one says you can't have a snack or something processed once in a while, but you have to change those habits very slowly. Because you wonder why as a nation we are so unhealthy. That is why our eating habits are around. Okay? And not just what we consume, but what is provided to us. So change should actually come from the top too. I hope an influential person is listening. So, listeners, you need to buy healthy food. Make the effort, make the investment. A lot of us, we have Jordans, we have expensive shoes, we have expensive clothes, but we don't have good food. Right? We have expensive, again, that's what I mentioned earlier about in point number 1. Alright, cutting down some expenses. Some of us, we say we don't have money, but we have money to buy everything. Alright, the latest clothes, the little shoes, the latest heels, the latest stockings, we have it. Again, that's all females. Alright, when we go out every week. Alright, niggas, everything else has to look good. Okay, so spend money on what's important, people. Alright, things like health, education, people, that is important. It makes a huge difference in your life. Okay, so everybody, we've gone a little bit over 9 o'clock. These are our 9 tips for this evening. Okay, so again, just to reiterate, just to summarize what I have discussed, what we have gone through thus far. So again, number 1, for those taking it down and those listening and want to recount, cut your major expenses out, or examine your major expenses and see what you can cut out. Because if you want to actually make a cut, actually try to stop, preserve, manage, get under control your spending. Start from the top, not always from the bottom. Alright? So, number 2, reduce your debts. Try not to take up too much debt. Some people, the expenses every month are too high. That is why you don't keep any money and don't have any money to save. When it's possible, people, buy cash. Okay? When possible, pay for things in cash. Also, try to buy local, people. It's better, safer oftentimes. Price is a lot lower. Of course, we went through some costs that go into the actual price of an item. Right? We had a pretty thorough discussion here. Number 5, more expensive isn't always better. So understand what makes something expensive. understand sometimes the matter of preference, understand that branding actually contributes to the pricing of an item, the pricing of certain items, especially clothes. Okay, so make sure you understand that. Alright, buy online sometimes, it's cheaper. Okay, it's more convenient. Well, it's not always more convenient, sorry, but it's cheaper at times. Okay, it will save you a lot of dollars. Buy in bulk when it's best to do so. Alright, when it's necessary, when it's more ideal, buy in bulk. Number 8, don't waste, people. Try not to waste. Try not to waste food, try not to waste money, try not to waste other things. Alright? Don't waste. Because all the thing that you waste is money that you're wasting. Parents teach your kids that. And we all should try to inculcate that mindset towards adults. And lastly, buy healthy food. Okay? Buy healthy food. Again, yes, we spend more money in the beginning, or we spend a little more in the beginning, but in the long run, alright, in the future, long term, you will save more money. Alright, you'll be healthier, you'll have less health conditions, you'll be going to the doctor less, okay? You'll live a more meaningful life, you'll be more energetic, and the many benefits that may accrue long into your years. Okay? So these are the 9 tips, listeners. Again, this evening we touched on a bit of a financial topic. Again, it's really education for everybody, for listeners, for young people especially, so that everyone can learn and change their lives. Okay? Again, to wrap up, I'm going to wrap up for quote here. And do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving. Ponder on that for a bit. Do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving. And my spin on it, prioritize saving, people. Doesn't matter if you have to cut sometimes. In the long run, it's always beneficial. Okay? It's $1 today. Tomorrow is a lot more valuable. Okay? Remember that. Alright. This evening, students, that's the end of my episode. I'd like to thank everybody who listened. Again, we have a page on Facebook, Youth on the Rise. Check it out. Give us a like, share it, get others to come on and learn. Check out the YouTube channel as well. Previous shows put up on there, so check them out if you want to get an idea of what we're doing. Also, people, encourage others to listen. Alright? Encourage others to listen. It's very important. And don't be afraid to contribute. Okay? Don't be afraid to contribute at all. Alright, everybody. I'm your host, Craig Hadel. It's been a pleasure presenting this evening. I wish you a pleasant good evening. See you next week, everybody, and goodbye.